Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Higher Self Expo. Today, we have the honor of engaging with a beautiful conversation with Dr. Kaushik Ram, who's a neuroscientist, and he will be part of the Australian speaker selection that will be sharing their wisdom, knowledge, and experience on the 18th of July. So welcome, Dr. Kaushik Ram, to this beautiful broadcast. This is an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the audience and just share a little bit about who you are, your journey, and giving the people a sense of the experience and process that you've been involved in over the last decade or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Nicholas, for the introduction, and really nice to be here. So I guess I've had two parallel journeys. One has been in academia, and I've been in that industry for well over 15 years. And mostly in the mental health space. I've worked with neurology, neurosurgery, as well as neuroscience and AI, which was the last project I was working with. But simultaneously, even before I had started neuroscience, I was always interested in the human body and what it's capable of. And so on the side, I had a passion project of just learning about the body. Initially through various martial arts and then through meditation. And it was just a passion project of exploration. But because I had this neuroscience background, I was using a lot of, research skills that is in science, and I was applying it to my personal research as well. And it started gaining attention. And now I'm in a position where what started off as a passion project has more interest than what I actually do academically. So that's, a bit of a twist in the plot. But yeah, I'm so glad that I can have a personal brand as well as, contribute to the larger scheme of things as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's beautiful to hear that something like a passion project, can evolve into something that you love and potentially generate income for yourself as well. And obviously the merging of those two different fields coming together, the skills that you learned in your research now being applied into this passion project, which is wonderful. So Dr. Kaushik Ram, please share with the audience a little bit about the topic and the presentation that you'll be sharing with the audience on the 18th of July. And why is this important for people at this time?
Yeah, so the topic itself is on the language of love. And, I understand that there are other programs, books out there on different languages of love. But I was looking at it from a biological perspective, and I don't think anyone else has done that yet, to really see how our body is responding to love from a biological perspective. And so I will share a little bit about how that comes about. And I'll look at it from a neurochemical perspective. I'll look at it from a physiological perspective, and I'll look at it from an interactive perspective. And there's certain things that usually are so simple, but not so apparent. And so I'm really excited to, share more about that. And just a brief idea of how this began was when I started doing brain research, I actually started looking at how the neural networks were functioning. And then below that was the subconscious. And I got pretty excited about that for a little bit. And then I started looking at psychology and the unconscious. And then, after working with thousands of people, I realized that there were levels below the subconscious that were actually eliciting a far more a greater response than the subconscious of the brain itself. And that happened to be the nervous system. And what modulated the nervous system was our heart rate. So once I had sort of got this biological roadmap of how the brain and body was functioning, then it came on to like, what can we do to actually train this? Because we, when we think about physical health, if we want to lose weight, if we want to, lose body fat, we know exactly who to go. We know we need a nutritionist. We need a fitness or fitness professional, personal trainer. We combine those two, and then magic. Like we put in the hard work. We look, lean, and we feel good because we're now at our, base weight, and that feels great because when we put in the work, it makes us feel good as well. But what is it out there for our mental health, or for our heart health, or for our physiology? And so far we know of how to look after ourselves from a psychological perspective. We know relationships are really important. We know security and safety is really, really important. We can observe it from the Maslow's hierarchy perspective. But what about biologically? And so there's a lot of unanswered questions there. And as I said, nobody has really looked at it from this perspective. And that is what I want to share.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing it. It is such a complex and elaborate, world below the conscious mind, and there is just so much going on. There's so much going on that we don't really fully understand and recognize. And the more awareness and the more support that we can have in this arena, can support the collective in the shifting into a more healthy way of relating and being in the world. And I guess that's kind of what you're interested in sharing and communicating to people at this time, which is awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to your presentation on the 18th of July. And before we leave, is there a preferred way in how you would love people to get in contact with you? Is there any books or offerings, courses, trainings that you are currently sharing at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've actually, as I said, this started off as a passion project, but once I realized how much attention it was getting, I realized I was ill-prepared to receive that level of interest. And so over the last 3 years, I've actually set up a lot of resources that people can access, because the mission ultimately is, in any given moment, 500 million people are affected by some form of mental, neurological, or behavioral condition. And I want to be able to help all of them. And they don't really need me per se. What they need is that information that they can take and apply to their lives, so that it can help them. So all this information is available firstly from my book, Hidden World, The Inside Story of the Soul. The book is actually a fictional journey through real world case studies. So I've anonymized the names, but and made it into more of a fictional narrative, which is a bit more fun. But a lot of it is based on real world incidences. And so that's a beautiful sort of access point. It's quite poetic, it's quite mythological. It's you can dive into that fantasy land, and it'll carry you through, and you have a lot of deep insights from that. And for a lot of people, they say they cry their way through the book. And the reason being is that it cracks open their heart, and it does it through beautiful storytelling. So that's, I guess, the most immediate access point. Then I have online courses, and you can access this through my website. So the course is called Train Your Nervous System, which, as I mentioned before, we have a lot of information about how the brain works. We have a lot of information and techniques to work with the subconscious and unconscious, but the body is being left out. And of course, we can do physical training, but what about physiological training? So how you do that is a large part of what I teach in my Training Your Nervous System online course. And then if people would want to work with me personally, I have a 6-week course called the Precognition Method. And precognition really relates to how the heart operates. It perceives things before our mind does, so it's precognition. And I have a lot of tools that I have developed on how to, I guess, reconstitute our physiology so that we start operating from that place. So those are, I guess, the 3 main access points. Also have a YouTube channel which provides a lot of support, I guess, from a storytelling perspective. So I interview people who have gone through and survived severe, I guess, trauma, or they might have had a loss of a son, a daughter, a partner. So how do we move through these situations? And often there's no right answer to this. Everyone finds their own way. And so when you hear stories of how people have walked through this, you get an understanding of like, okay, there is support, and everyone has their own way of finding that and working through it. So the YouTube channel is another great resource, and I guess another entry point for this work as well, because it is so new. For me, because I'm at the forefront of it, there's very few places where I can go to gather more information. A lot of it comes from peer-reviewed research articles, but how I communicate with it, there's very little resources out there of like translating that for the general public. So that's really what I've been doing, is taking that body of knowledge and making it really accessible.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Could you just name for the viewers both just the website and the name of the YouTube channel?
Yeah, so luckily across all platforms, I'm Dr. Kaushik Ram, so DrKaushikRam. And if you add .com, it'll take you straight to my website. Across social media, it's still the same handle. And the YouTube is the same handle as well. So I guess the easiest thing would be to just Google search and just type my name in, Kaushik Ram, and all the websites, the videos, everything will just come up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Made it nice and easy. I also want to remind viewers that if you'd like to get a little bit more information about Dr. Kaushik Ram, there has been a few podcasts. I know Accentuate the Positive by Karen Swain, and there are a few other podcasts that have dived into his story in a lot more detail and depth. So if you're interested in finding out more, feel free to connect with him through those podcasts. We look forward to seeing you at the Higher Self Expo Science Meets Spirituality on Sunday, the 18th of July. Thank you so much for sharing a brief little snippet about yourself, as well as the work that you're doing and continuing to dive into to make it more accessible for people. We really thank you, and we look forward to seeing what you're able to share with the audience in about a month's time.
Wonderful. So excited. Thanks, Nicholas.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time, see you all later.